The High Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Mira stood in chains, her eyes burning with defiance. The crystalline walls of the galactic citadel reflected fractured light across the assembled delegates, species from 47 star systems, each convinced of their own superiority, each terrified of the predator cub she had dared to protect. "You have violated Protocol 7 Alpha," Counselor Vexithara announced, her translucent form pulsing with indignation. "Predator species are to be quarantined upon discovery. The cubs you harbor are classified as Class 5 threats." Mira's jaw tightened. "They're children. Orphaned children who lost everything when your peacekeeping fleet glassed their world." A collective hiss rippled through the chamber. Counselor Zephyrim, a being of pure electromagnetic energy, crackled with anger. "Humanity continues to demonstrate why you remain on probationary membership. Your emotional attachments cloud your judgment. These creatures will grow into apex predators capable of tearing through hull plating with their bare claws. Like humans once did?" Mira shot back. "Or have you forgotten that every species in this chamber once deemed us too dangerous to exist?" The council had heard enough. Within the hour, Mira was separated from Raku and his siblings, 3 predator cubs no larger than earth wolves, taken from their dying world and given to the only being in the galaxy who saw them as more than monsters. The detention center on Sublevel 47 was designed to hold the most dangerous criminals in known space. Force fields hummed with enough energy to atomize anything that touched them. Surveillance drones monitored every molecule of air. The cell was a perfect cube, 3 meters on each side, with walls that shifted through null space to prevent any physical breach. Mira sat cross-legged in the center, her expression unreadable. In another facility, 16 levels below, the cubs were caged separately. Raku pressed his face against the energy barrier, his yellow eyes reflecting the harsh lights. His siblings whimpered in adjacent cells. At barely 6 months old by their species' development, they understood separation, they understood loss, and they understood that the soft-skinned human who had sung them to sleep and taught them to laugh was gone. The guards, hulking Vrex warriors bred for combat, watched the predator cubs with weapons ready. They had been warned. These creatures were death incarnate, barely restrained by youth. What they didn't know was that Raku had been learning. Not just language or how to use utensils, but something far more valuable. Mira had taught him to think like a human. Day 1 of separation passed in silence. Mira meditated, seemingly resigned to her fate. The cubs remained docile, refusing the nutrient paste offered to them. Day 2 brought interrogators. They questioned Mira about human intentions, about Earth's interest in predator species, about classified military capabilities. She answered every question with variations of "I wanted to help children." Her sincerity was maddening. Lie detectors confirmed she believed every word. The cubs still refused food. Medical staff expressed concern. Raku's vital signs were weakening. Day 3 began with routine. The morning shift change. Guards rotating. Surveillance drones conducting their programmed sweeps. Everything proceeded according to protocol, until it didn't. At 08:47 station time, Sublevel 47's power grid experienced a cascading failure. Backup systems engaged immediately, but for exactly 2.3 seconds. Every force field, every lock, every surveillance system went dark. The investigation later revealed that someone had introduced a quantum virus into the station's core systems. A virus that required intimate knowledge of 17 different alien operating systems, each supposedly incompatible with the others. A virus that could only have been designed by someone with access to classified council security protocols. A virus that Mira, with her background in xenocomputer systems and 3 months of careful observation, had assembled and hidden in the microscopic computing threads woven into her diplomatic jacket. A jacket the guards had never thought to scan, because it was just clothing. When the lights returned, Mira's cell was empty. The wall bore scoring marks from a high-frequency cutter, the kind built into diplomatic emergency beacons, never meant as weapons but capable of slicing through null space barriers when properly reprogrammed. 16 levels below, 3 containment cells stood open. The Vrex guards were unconscious, unharmed, but thoroughly sedated with their own tranquilizer systems. The weapons locker had been raided with surgical precision. Security footage from the brief moment systems came back online, showed something that would haunt the council for years. Mira sprinting through corridors with 3 predator cubs at her heels. moving with a coordination that spoke of planning and perfect trust. Raku led the way, his young mind processing the station, schematics Mira had described to him during bedtime. Stories the guards had dismissed as meaningless, babbling. Once upon a time, she had whispered through the walls using harmonic frequencies the surveillance couldn't detect. There were brave cubs who learned to count. 1 hallway, 2 ventilation shafts, 3 security checkpoints, 4 docking bays. By the time station security mobilized, the human and her cubs had disappeared into the maintenance network, a labyrinth of passages designed for automated drones, too cramped for Vrex warriors in combat armor. They found docking bay 7 unsealed, its atmospheric locks cycled. An emergency shuttle was missing, one of the old human models kept for diplomatic use. Its quantum engines cold for months but somehow brought to full power in under 6 minutes. Counselor Vexithara stared at the empty bay, her form flickering with something that might have been respect. Impossible. The quantum ignition sequence alone requires 47 minutes. The human dockmaster, a grizzled woman named Chen, shrugged. Unless you've got an engineer who learned to hotwire FTL drives during Earth's resource wars. Or unless you've been teaching 3 predator cubs to manipulate plasma couplings, because they've got the perfect claw structure for it, and humans have always believed in giving kids chores. The shuttle's trajectory was untraceable, a wild jump through hyperspace that could have ended anywhere in 3,000 light years. The High Council issued warrants, launched investigations, and tightened security protocols across the Citadel. But deep down, they knew the truth that humanity had been trying to teach them since first contact. Underestimate humans at your peril, and never ever come between a human and those they've claimed as family. 6 months later, reports began filtering in from the outer reaches. A human woman and 3 predator cubs, now adolescents, running a rescue operation for orphaned predator species, pulling survivors from quarantine worlds, teaching them that they didn't have to be monsters. Raku, grown tall and fierce, stood as her protector and partner. His siblings, once destined for euthanasia, now coordinated rescue missions with tactical precision that would shame galactic marines. And at the center of it all was Mira, the human who had looked at teeth and claws and seen only children who needed love. The High Council never found them. But sometimes in the deep dark between stars, they wondered if they had ever really been searching. After all, some lessons are best learned by letting them go.